So we're bringing back a segment. If for anybody who's new to the show, those are some people we've gained in the winter. During the season, we do is 2 segments. We do a segment called Inside Numbers, where we take a stat cast, or whatever stat. It can be anything. It could be temperature in the air. I don't know.
Yeah.
But we'll take something and we'll discuss it a little further, and then the good, the bad, and the ugly. So let's start off with the Inside Numbers, and we're getting more encouraged for our listeners to during the week. If you have a number you want us to talk about, if there's some stat that you want to bring us, of course, email us and at the show email, or just send us a message and we'll gladly go over it. We had a couple people who did that last year on a regular basis, and that's fun. So all right, that's the Red Hot Chili Pepper version of yeah, some funky bass there. I wanted some more basses here. So yeah, of course, yeah. As soon as I knew I was gonna get the Flea reference there, but
no,
we haven't played this in a while actually.
Off the Frickers building.
There we go.
Yeah, Bootsy Collins segment. All right, Uper, what is your inside the number this week?
My inside the number is 47. 47 is the defensive runs saved projection at MLB.com. Mike Petriello has put on the Guardians. I can't believe it. I wrote down Guardians here. I still said Indians. Yeah. But anyway, that is the number one projected number in MLB this year, 47 defensive runs saved. Last year, both the Rangers and the Diamondbacks, the World Series representatives, were in their preseason top 3 in defensive runs saved. And this doesn't mean that the Guardians are going to the playoffs or the World Series, but it does show that they have a pretty good defense. If a couple of those pitchers, Tanner Bybee and Gavin Williams, are what they think they are, put a good defense behind them, you can see how the Guardians, no matter what we think of their offseason and their ownership, how they could hang around, because catching the ball is one factor that if you want to hang around, catching the ball is a good thing to be good at. And it looks like the Indians, the Guardians have some defense with Miles Straw, Kwan, the Jimenez in the infield. Their catchers are all solid. They're going to catch the ball and probably be a pain in everybody's butt as usual.
I like that. All right. Cameron, what's your inside number?
First off, if the Guardians pitching carries them to another Central Division win, I may turn into the Joker. It's been like 5 of the last 7 years. My inside the number is 60%, which is the percentage of strikes Alex Lang threw in his opening appearance in spring training. I don't know. I just want to vent about Alex Lang, really. Out of the 198 relief pitchers that threw 40 innings last year, Alex Lang was tied for second worst with a 15.6 walk percentage. League average is 8.6, so almost double league average. Last year, he threw 57% strikes. League average was 63% strikes. So, yeah, I mean, I just want to see Alex Lang throw strikes. I guess he technically was 3% better than his total last year, but, small sample size, all that. Yeah, 60%. Alex Lang, throw more strikes, please.
Work that fastball, son. Work that fastball. He's one of the few relievers I've ever seen closing games I just felt he was afraid to throw a fastball at times. And that's
his
the
fastball is very
way to live.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, that's the thing is his fastball has good velocity, and he worked in some nice 2-seamers last year. But yeah, it's very hittable. It is in that dead zone, the bad area of IVB, where you're getting kind of the same amount of horizontal and vertical movement, and that. I can do mine. It's on the
Yeah.
number, I suppose. So mine is pretty fairly basic. It's 32.2. That is the projected WAR total for the Detroit Tigers this year, according to Fangraphs. Which the good news is that's among the better WAR totals that they've had since 2016. It breaks down to 18.6 WAR from the hitters and 13.7 from the pitchers. That would be the highest offensive WAR for the Tigers since 2016, which is kind of what we've been asking for, like a functional offense, maybe. The pitching would be the fourth best since 2014, slightly worse than last year. The bad news there is that generally speaking, when you're using WAR like this, you kind of start with 48-ish wins. Some people say 45. You can go all up to 54, I guess, just from a team full of replacement players would have that many wins. So if you add the 32 to the 48, you get about 80 wins, which is nice, but not going to get you to the playoffs. I don't think any of us are necessarily expecting that, but it is kind of the hard, cold numbers of it. Now, you could argue that it's kind of within the margin of error, though. If Tigers have an 80th percentile season, they win like 86 games, and they're probably going to the playoffs. So it's possible. But 32.2.
Did you look into the rest of the Central Division at all, or is that?
I did not, but I can very quickly. I would assume that the Twins are number one. One of the interesting things, the Twins were one of, if you just do that WAR, math, the Twins were one of the biggest underperformers in baseball last year. They had like the third or fourth highest total WAR of any team, and they were like 7-8 games under that total.
So thanks to Kyle Clark here, the Tigers 2019 home run leader, Brandon Dixon, has retired. He just posted on Twitter. So happy trails to
Tigers legend,
Brandon Dixon. Home run leader, it was 2019 season, right? Yeah, it was 2019 season. We led the team in home runs with 19 or 13 or something like that. I can't remember off the top of my head.
15?
Maybe. That sounds right. That sounds right about right. And so my insider number, by the way, is 3, and that's the number of Giants starters that are healthy right now, as the Giants have continued to have setbacks with injury, as Tristan Beck has been diagnosed with an aneurysm in his upper arm. That was talked about today, or was reported by Maria Guardado of MLB.com. And the reason why, this is kind of what I was talking about this with Chris earlier. The Giants starter depth is pretty slim at best, and you're expecting Alex Cobb to come back, who he had a left hip injury. You have Robbie Ray coming back from Tommy John, but they haven't looked good so far. And also, I mean, it's there's, of course, you still have Blake Snell and Jordan Montgomery out there. Bob Melvin does not want to be reminded of that either. So, but as far as like options go, I mean, if you I forgot that they signed Jordan Hicks, and they're trying to make him into a starter, which I don't know if that's going to be a good idea long term. But either way, the reason why I would just mention that is because, I mean, it's a possibility that somebody mentioned this on Twitter, and I thought was a very interesting comment, was you could definitely see Sky Harris going, "Hey, you want Joey Wentz?" Or somebody they may like in the past. Who knows? Because, I mean, Joey Wentz doesn't have really much as far as like options go. I think he has one minor league option left, or maybe he doesn't.
No, he has none.
No.
That's he's going to be one of the big roster decisions. So yeah, it would make sense if they don't think they can fit him on the team to look for a trade, and they could probably work one out, because as we talked before, that's a pretty good arm. He hasn't had a ton of success, but I think teams will take chance on an arm like that.
Yeah, and look, and the thing is that the number what the Tigers are going to do, or should be what the Giants are going to do, they maybe have put out offers for these guys, but I do find it interesting that you would think a team that desperate for pitching already would have gone and pulled the trigger on Snell, but apparently there's an offer out there, according to the Yankees, offered him 6 years and like $180 million or something like that, and he rejected it.
Yeah, that was. I mean, when I saw that, I'm like, "Hey, boy!" But we've seen this play out before with Scott Boras, right? Where he does the game of chicken and almost always wins. Now the Bellinger one doesn't seem like a huge win, but But honestly, and we go into this a little bit later, but he was the type of player to get a contract like that because he was pretty awful for 2 years and then had this strange bounce back year last year, which those numbers were undoubtedly good, but there's a lot of underlying data that suggests that was very weird and flukish. So I don't know.